Today's lesson is about solving equations that have an x squared term in them, okay? So let's remember that solving any equation is about getting your variable by itself, whether it's an x or an n or a k or whatever the variable is. So when we use this idea of solving equations, we know that we've got to be using the inverse to do that, and the inverse operations of numbers help you move terms and numbers across the equal mark. So let's recall that the inverse of squaring a number is taking the square root. So if I look at an equation that has an x squared in it, I know really what I need to do to undo that, or get rid of the squaring, is to take the square root of that value. And anything that I do to one side, I've got to do to the other. So the square root of an x squared value really just becomes x. And the square root of 16 would be 4. But it's not only positive 4, it could be a negative 4. So think about that. 4 times 4 is 16, but negative 4 times negative 4 is also 16. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little plus or minus sign right there by the 4. Okay, that's it. Positive 4 would work here, but negative 4 would also work here. Let's do number 2. X squared equal to 25. I'm going to take the square root of each side. This is going to leave me with x. The square root of 25 is either positive 5 or negative 5. So my answer will be positive or negative 5. Look at number 3. The equation is set up just a little bit differently, where you have x squared and you've got a number added to the x squared. So let's remember this. You always want to get your x squared term on one side by itself set equal to your number. So isolate that x squared first. So let's move 10 over. That's going to give me x squared equal to 81. And now I have my x squared statement. I'll take the square root of that side, square root of this side. X would be equal to whatever the square root of 81 is, positive or negative. So my solutions there are either positive 9 or negative 9. One more I want us to look at in this lesson is x squared plus 17 equal to 20. Notice that I still need to get my x squared term isolated. So I'm going to subtract 17 from both sides. That gives me x squared equal to 3. Using my process of taking the square root, I'm going to have square root of x squared and square root of 3. But that's not a whole number value like all of our other ones where they're integers. That's when we're going to use the calculator. And we're going to get a decimal equivalent and round it to the nearest 10. So what you need to do in your calculator is you need to go to mode. When you go to mode, you have this option. And you want to make sure that your calculator has the blackened rectangle highlighted around the word classic. And you're going to push enter. I'm going to go second quit. And I'm going to plug in square root of 3. Second x squared, and I get that radical sign, 3. And there's what I get, 1.73. So since I get 1.73 and I'm asked to round it to the nearest 10, I'm going to look at the number in the tens. I'll look 1 to the right, 5 or more raise the score, 4 or less let it rest. That's going to stay at 7. So I'm going to put 1.7, positive or negative. And actually, since I've rounded this, I'm going to put an approximation symbol. So the solutions for these equations are really that I have 2 of them. I've either got a positive 1.7 or a negative 1.7. Because if I plug that in and square it, I know that it's going to become positive. I hope this helps.